And we are back for our breakout session here with the title Digital Plant Operations, Transparency, Decision and Tracking. And this breakout session is held by Tino Schuebel, Head of Product Area Plant Operation at Bosch Connected Industry, and Kai Lorentzen, Product Area Plant Operation, Product Management at Bosch Connected Industries. Welcome to our event.
Thanks, Britta, for the introduction. A big thing we would like to talk with you today, how to get transparency in your factory and use this digital information for your right decision. So Kai Lorentzen is with me here in the room, sure with the needed distance, responsible for the product management, and myself, Tino Schuebel, will share our ideas how to have this benefit in your factory. To make the situation a little bit clearer, we would first step into a typical example. How does it feel missing transparency? So hopefully you had never had this feeling before. And my example is just a badly chosen example. In that case, you can now relax, take a coffee, and otherwise stay tuned so we can give you some of new information, therefore. Imagine the situation. You as a plant manager or responsible for the operation in the factory do not feel comfortable with the current situation in your factory. Sometimes you feel like managing a black box with missing information or not with corresponding information which does not fit together. And you feel not secure with that. So maybe some examples from daily work, and maybe you could imagine the situation a little bit clearer. One example, you will be surprised by an unplanned maintenance window for your expensive machine equipment, which does not fit to the planned daily production schedule. Or the operator on the machine tells you from frequently repeatable not okay parts with a large spreading of actual process parameters, but you don't have the needed data for the root cause analysis. Or another issue or example, unfortunately, the raw material is not on the place where it should be and couldn't be found in short term where it's needed to bring the parts to the machine for the scheduled production. Or a much simpler example, you are just not able to show the KPIs of your production simply on your smartphone in one click, like produced parts, OEE, or first pass yield, whatever is your preferred KPI. And at the end of the day, all these interruptions lead into unplanned high costs. But luckily, you remember some very smart employees in your organization, all with a good feeling of IT solutions combined with their strong domain competence. And you ask them for help to find an IT solution for those issues I mentioned before. And finally, the fourth industrial revolution is ongoing and you don't want to miss it. So on the left side, we have an example of the maintenance guy. The maintenance guy, remember a very smart solution from the last fair he participated. Quick in installation with all required features for planned and unplanned maintenance. And with an additional cool stuff for reservation of spare parts. So it looks that helps quite a lot. And everybody feels good in the maintenance department with it. And in the logistics on the other side, they also set up a useful software system to handle the parts in the supermarket in a more accurate way. And also to keep control of transport orders for your new procured HEVs. And now the parts are on time, on track in the right direction. So the logistics feel good with that new IT solutions. And last but not least, the team on the shop floor found also a great solution. On the basis of lean management, they set up a cloud-based system with all required reports for the daily work on the shop floor. So reports with Pareto of machine errors, produced parts, or also analysis of changeovers. Everything is available on one click. Great. The team on the shop floor with all operators feel good with the new tool. So for all three mentioned problems, they found their own dedicated single solution. And at the beginning, you as the plant manager also feels very good about this. Okay, sometimes you have some smaller issues without either the own operated IT infrastructure or with some license and support contracts with the different software providers. But nevertheless, it works day by day. But over the time, you recognize the disadvantages of those dedicated single systems. The systems are not connected to each other. So there is no homogenized data available and cannot be used for all use cases and not by all users. For an example, you don't combine the information of the last maintenance window on the machine yesterday, for example, with the current process parameters, which are going in the wrong direction. Or the logistics people don't have direct access on the plant maintenance tasks. So you don't get any valuable insights into production with corresponding information. And the work in the field and decisions by the management are not always made easier or secured. So, but how can we change this? From our opinion, we need one system. Sure, not a monolith, which is expensive on the first purchase, complex in installation and configuration, or difficult or hard to administrate. That's not the idea I'm talking of. One system with a modular approach for different functional use cases. So each module covers own functionality, independent, and can also share their own data with other modules. So data is not used in isolation, but in a context. Dependencies can be identified and also measures can be taken. And such a system needs a strong foundation, a strong base for all modules. This means one connectivity from the machines on the shop floor, so you can reduce the cost of the implementation time and only have those efforts one time. One master data handling and only one user management to reduce the unnecessary administration tasks. And very important, one user interface with a friendly look and feel, with an innovative and intuitive operation concept. So we can reduce the training time for the employees and everybody's working with one front end. And how does that create benefit? Kai will show us now on the second part.
Okay. Thank you, Tino. So a uniform digital system is a software platform in this case. So what's the benefit of installing a software platform in your factory? How does it get you any closer to your quality, cost, and delivery targets? The installation per se will not help you out at all. So how does it work? So the first step is that you define rules in the platform. Those rules are then applied permanently on the incoming data stream. Once those rules are being violated, deviations are coming up. So where do these rules actually come from? You get those rules from the guys that you have in the plant. Quality guys, logistics guys, maintenance guys, the guys that know best how your plant is working. And those guys help you to improve your system day by day. They use their knowledge. Once they are in the room, once they are on site, they apply their implicit knowledge, their rules, to make your production system better. So why not put those rules into a system that applies those rules permanently to the incoming data? With the result that you are being notified on deviations every morning. Because normally you have in your plant a daily morning meeting where you actually review your current state and the deviations that came up in the last 24 hours. But taking a look at your deviations only once a day and not improving or working on those deviations in between is far too seldom to get any closer to your quality, cost, and delivery targets. So what you want to do is you want to react faster. In our case, and in our terms, we think of a fast reaction system like a smartwatch on your wrist that allows you to be notified, like that vibrates and tells you which station you have to go to now, which has a problem. And once the shop floor employee actually comes to this station, he also needs the information that empowers him to resolve the issue with the station as fast as possible. But sometimes he's unable to deal with these problems because he might not have the competence or maybe not the authority to do this. In this case, he would normally call a guy, how we call it in Germany. He calls somebody he knows that helps him to resolve this problem. But this is not state of the art. Today, we want to document those things. We want to have a proper system for this. Because normally he would use Outlook, he would use his phone to call somebody, he would write a text message. But in today's times, we use modern systems like ticket management systems by which we can forward the issue and all data that surrounding this matter with the station to somebody in the process department, in the quality department that are on duty and that are responsible now to answer the issue the shop floor employee is facing. So if this works properly and is functioning, in the morning, you may be looking at closed deviations and not at open deviations. And this will actually get you closer to your quality cost and delivery targets. So we talk basically about that the data is coming into the platform, we apply rules on this data, and that this creates deviations. Another key functionality of this platform is that the modules that you have on your platform are communicating with each other. How does this look like and how does this work? A good example here from shop floor management. This is a map view of several locations you have, for example, in your international production network. What you see here is basically the locations and the KPIs from machines in those locations. But the data is computed and stored in modules in those plants, while you are actually gathering the data you see here in a different module. This is of highest importance because so that you have consistent data storage and data integrity in your system. Another good example for this is logistics. In logistics, in this case, you see the current stock of material at a line close to your manufacturing line. And the idea basically is that if you take a look at this picture, that you understand if you have the right stock in place to fulfill the requirements of the manufacturing guys. So this system also includes the upcoming production schedule. And if this upcoming production schedule changes, the production scheduling system, which is different to this system, sends the current production schedule into this line, into the system. So you know all the time whether you have the right schedule, the right material at the manufacturing location. Another good example is maintenance. Maintenance is for us, in this case, is a module that contains a lot of information. It contains tutorial videos. It contains knowledge databases. It contains documentations, drawings about this, about the station or the stations, maybe even of the whole factory. So if the shop floor employee is actually reacting to a downtime, and if we hurry to the station, the system already needs to have called up all the information he requires for this specific downtime and this specific error code that happened at the station. So you see, it's very important that the modules are talking to each other and that the modules can actually send data into the other modules. So this is another big advantage of having a platform. So to sum it up, applying rules to your data stream and bringing up deviations and reacting fast on them is one of them we've seen. And the other one is that the modules are talking to each other. As a result, you have global transparency so that you can actually understand your global manufacturing performance worldwide, and that you can actually improve your system. The advantage of such a platform is that you can onboard and drop modules from your platform depending on the requirements you're currently facing. And in the long run, you have cost savings, for example, due to the infrastructure and other components. So these are basically the advantages that we are seeing, and these are the reasons why we are working on such a platform. For our factories, it will bring huge advantage, and I think it's of highest importance that we keep on working and keep on looking in the community on those topics. So this would be so much from our side. We'd be happy to stay in touch with you, either contact the Summit department or even contact us directly. We'd be happy to answer questions directly, or maybe even now, if you like, in the upcoming slot for questions and answers. So there's so much from my side. Thank Britta.
Great. Thanks a lot for these interesting insights, Tino and Kai. And we come now to questions from the audience. And I wanted to start right with the first question, which is, you mentioned the morning round quite a few times. And I think many of the speakers earlier mentioned that routine. What exactly will be different if we digitize manufacturing processes, except reducing paperwork?
Maybe Kai, that's something for you, right?
Well, so I'm very enthusiastic about digitalizing those processes in the factory. We will be faster. We will be more resilient. The reason is because we know about the state of the factory all the time. And if I would be responsible for the output, and if we would be in a critical delivery situation, I would like to know all the time. So it's a lot of data, it's a lot of information, yes. But I think it will also be also making production life a lot easier.
And the second question is, what is your vision of the transparent factory?
Yeah, okay, I will take that. Yeah, my vision is that we have all the information from the production and logistics area in the one mentioned system available. And everybody from the head of the area to the operator, also the plant manager, can use the data very simple on one click from one system. That's the idea behind, and that's my vision. So we can use the data not only for the classical reporting, like OEE, first pass yield and stuff like that. We can also use that information for the needed topics like quality assurance, traceability, the material flow, and so on. So use the data for the real execution of the data. And having this information on hand in one click without exporting it to Excel, without printing it out and put it on the wall, that's my vision.
Great, thank you.
Sure, maybe one addition to this, also use that data for the artificial intelligence, what we heard before from Kai. This is the base that we can use the artificial intelligence based on that information.
Great, thank you. And the next question comes from Ferdinand Eicher, and he wants to know what kind of requirement are on interfaces designs for remote system, which should be connected from foreign systems.
Okay, yeah, what's needed? I mentioned it's important to have one connectivity layer for such a system. And if you want to connect the machines must, let's say, speak a language which is understandable by such that platform. There are open protocols. Sure, we from Bosch with the next seat, we have open protocols for this, but there are also single protocols by the people who produce the machines. And we also must be able to adapt those controllers as well. And for the interface to third-party application, use the standard protocols as used on the market to connect to third-party systems like SAP or others which are already available in your blend.
The next question.
So no special requirements, let me say it in these words. So.
Great, thank you. The next question comes from Sebastian Reible, and he wants to know, with many companies offering IoT services, how can a manufacturer assure the integration of different solutions of different vendors over time?
Well, more information on that, right? So in general, we can. I'm not too sure about the question, but if he says over a long time, we as Bosch are investing in this system for the long run. So this is not something we do just for 2 years. So of course we need to maintain our system. This is one thing. We also need to review that it's always state of the art. But we will not run after short trends, I think, at some points. We will always think about the system in the long run, and we will also think about how we can integrate third-party vendors so that also their integration is a long-term business.
Great, thank you. The next question, can the stored data from the next seed platform be processed in other tools such as Tableau or Power BI?
Yes, it's mentioned before. It's very important that the platform offers our own reporting platform or a reporting system with the web portal. That's something like delivering the standard. But we are sure that we can't bring all the reports which you need in your plans, and we need an open interface. So therefore, we decided also to have APIs to send the data or to collect the data from the next seed platform also for other platforms. That could be a reporting system like Tableau or Power BI.
And how has your solution changed the workday of Bosch employees, and how did they react to its introduction in the first place?
Well, of course, I cannot speak for the whole workforce here. I can say that since we have introduced digital solutions, I think the wish list of what we have to put in the system is getting longer every day. So I think they're pretty excited about the system, that what we can offer in this system. We have this, basically we have the lines connected to our visualizations, and as a whole, life is getting easier, but the transition from, let's call it, lean and paper-based work style to the fully digitalized shop floor management, for example, we started walking this way, but we're not at the end yet. So we are on it, and we're excited, and I think we're looking at a good way here.
Thank you. And another question: if you could have a wish on the technological landscape, what would you wish for to be possible technologically now, but which is not yet possible?
Interesting question. We are talking very often only about technology. I would say it in the other words, maybe we should not focus only on the technology side. Maybe we should also focusing on the process side. To also standardize the processes on the shop floor, that they are more in a regular way, not putting everything into the next technology step, putting more standards in the processes. That's one step. Sure, I'm not answering that question, but this is something I would also like to mention here. Regarding the technology landscape, sure, there are, like mentioned before, some of the topics like artificial intelligence, using some reporting engines that's something I would like to have in the technology stack also available for this Nextseed platform.
Kai, anything you wanted to add probably?
Yeah. Well, I'd wish that we, we have used digital tools privately, and we are very, very much willing to give our data away there. But as soon as it comes to, let's say, industry data security, we are closing all doors. That's how it feels like sometimes. And I'd wish that we actually agree upon standards so that we actually can start working. We have a lot of things to do, and we're waiting for standardization activities to finish, to agree upon. And I wish that we be faster in this so that we actually can work on the problems that we're facing in the factory and not just wait for RPs to be defined and papers to come out.
Interesting, thank you. And the last question for this session comes from Sebastian Reible, and he's asking, regulations and SC specifications differ. How can you, as a platform provider, assure the suitability of your product across different industries?
I think most of all, we would like to deliver a software platform which is for the discrete manufacturing and logistics area, so not for the process area. Regarding different industries, it should be as open as possible for those topics, and this could be in the case that you can extend it by your own modules. So what we think is to have functional modules available, as described before, this modular approach, but it's extendable also by third-party applications. If you have needs to extend this for special industry, that's also a possible approach.
Interesting. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for this interesting discussion. Maybe one question from my side, since we had such a vivid discussion in our panel discussion. What are maybe one or two things that you wish for, that you would look forward to in terms of the digitized future?
Maybe the first time, bring it very quick into the field. Sometimes I have the feeling that we discuss very often about how to do it, and my wish is just do it.
Well, from my point of view, I think one very interesting time will be the time after Corona. We are forced to digitize in a very strong way in our society in the last couple of months. And I really want to see how manufacturing operations, how the presence of people is still necessary after a couple of years, after we have this strong push towards digitization. So my wish would be is that we do not lash back to old behavior, but that we find the right balance between those two things.
Great. And we just received another question from the audience that I wanted to talk about with you guys as well. You mentioned the data can be used for traceability. Is the full product traceability a part of your solution?
It will be.
It will be. It is already available. We are doing this since years within a previous platform. And we are currently in the migration phase that also the full product traceability will be also available in the Nextseed industrial application system. Yes.
Great. Then thanks a lot, you two, for this interesting breakout session, for your insights and also for your personal story regarding what we just talked about, traceability, data protection. And let's hope to get out of this Corona crisis situation as soon as possible. Thanks a lot. And we see each other again soon in just a moment for our Q&A with Rolf Najok. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita.